Hello, it's Lyndon, and this time of year, so at the moment it's January the 9th, so this is a really good time of year for having to think about where you are with your current saxophone development, wherever that may be, and where it is that you'd like to go. And I think it's really difficult to progress if, let me put that another way, it makes it much easier to progress if you currently know where you are, and if you do a really good stock check about where it is that you currently are. Because if you think about it, if supposing you're lost in a territory but you have a map but you don't know where you are on that map, it makes it really hard to chart a course from where you currently are to where it is that you want to be. So the object of this video is to help you, to give you some questions that are going to help refine and focus your knowledge about exactly where you are with your current development, so that you can then move forward and head in the correct direction that is going to help you get the most growth. It doesn't really matter how long you've been playing. If you're a brand new player or really experienced player, I feel certain that these questions are going to really help you. So I printed this up on a sheet. I originally sent it as a WhatsApp text for my regular clients. I've got a WhatsApp group for regular clients, just something that I put on there, but it got some really good feedback, and my wife said it was very good, which is like, she's the most critical person in the world. So it must have been good. So I printed it out to an email and I'll share it with you now and just go through it. Oh no, I won't share it because it's not there. Oh, I'm such a Luddite. Oh, such a shame. Right, let me find it. And I can't find it. There we are. I have got zero chance of being a good YouTuber. Oh man. Oh, by the way, like and subscribe, please, and share my video if you can. I would like to eventually become a good YouTuber if I can. Right, so it says, morning everyone. This time of year is great for thinking about where you are with your sax journey, which areas of development you'd like to work on. If you have ambitions with the sax, take stock and see if they need updating, or if you're on and to see if you're on course to achieve them. So here's a bunch of questions that you could think about. Do my basic skills support where I want to be, or could they be strengthened? Well, that's a bit of a no-brainer, right? Can your core skills be strengthened? Yes, they can, right? They just can. It doesn't matter whoever you are. I would have thought, John Coltrane was really famous for constantly practicing. Why would he do that if he thought that he had arrived, right? We never really truly arrive on this journey. So your core skills could definitely be strengthened, or refreshed. And I always think of this a little bit like fitness, that, just because, imagine that you're really unfit, and then you work really hard to get fit and get your fitness up, and then you reach a point where you realize you're really fit. What are you going to do then? Are you going to sit on the sofa and just eat Haagen-Dazs all day saying, well, I don't really need to train anymore because I'm fit? It doesn't work like that. However good your core skills are, they always need refreshing and maintaining. So you can always work on your core skills. Let's pop that back up again. Right, so do I know my major scales? Right, for some of you that, again, it's a no-brainer. Of course, you know your major scales, but for many of us, still learning our major scales, which is absolutely fine. The major scales, by the way, are going to be the underlying structure upon which everything else is built, in my opinion. Right, it really is. It's the longer I play the saxophone for, the more I see that these major scales underpin so much other stuff. So if you don't know your major scales, or again, it's like fitness. If you don't know your major scales, you need to learn them. If you do know your major scales, the question is, how well do you know them, and how fluent are you in each particular key? And a really good question to ask is, which is my strongest scale and which is my weakest? The good part about this is that if you can identify which is your weakest scale, then you can work on it. If you don't know which is your weakest scale, you don't know which one to work on. So have a think about it. Everybody's going to have one scale which is less strong than another. It's just a fact. Everybody's going to have a weaker scale. What about my Dorian minors? Am I fluent in those too? Well, again, for some of you that might be gibberish. For other people, they'd be like, yeah, of course I know my Dorian minors. But yeah, again, it's the degree of how well you know them. Can you play them descending on their own instead of ascending and then descending? Because we tend to connect those two things together. What about the chord tones? Can you hit root 3, 5, 7, 9 up and down quite easily, right? Can you do those things? So um, and why Dorian minors? Well, I think Dorian minors are really, really useful because they are one of the fundamental building blocks of a 2-5-1, which is in itself a fundamental building block of loads and loads and loads of tunes. It's the most common chord progression. So 2-5-1s are really, really significant. Again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, don't worry. Oh, look, the cat's woken up. If you're not sure what I'm talking about with 2-5-1s, you can just ask me or Google it. But trust me, Dorian minors, the second mode of the major scale, they're really, really important to get. Where am I with improvising? How can I develop my soloing skills? So now some of these questions are going to tie into each other. So again, it's just a really good question to ask yourself. Am I happy with my improvisational skills? Am I doing a lot of waffle? Have I got some language? Is there some patterns or licks that I could learn that are going to enhance what it is that I do when I'm improvising? And how can I develop my soloing skills? Well, one way that you can develop your soloing skills is by knowing your major scales inside out, knowing the chord tones of those, knowing your Dorian minors, and having a really sort of good awareness of where you are with those major scales. Could I transcribe a song if I want to? So the way that I teach is that I'll find a really, really, really cool song that I like on YouTube or somewhere like that. I'll just hear it on the radio, and I will think, oh, that would sound great on the sax, and I'll transcribe it. So I'll sit down and I'll just write it out. So, and what part of my ambition is to empower everybody I teach to be able to do that too. Fly. So, can you transcribe a song? Sorry if I sound a bit bunged up. It's because I've just recovered from COVID. Thank you so much, whoever gave that to me. So can you transcribe a song? I would want it for anybody that I teach and everybody who plays the sax, just to be able to hear a song and instantly be able to work it out, to be able to write down that song and get a backing track for it and play it and add it to their repertoire of tunes. It's a really, really powerful thing to be able to do, an empowering thing. How about playing with others in an open mic situation, jam session or band? Would I aspire to that, or would I aspire to that? So for some people, again, everybody's different. For some people, be yeah, of course, I'd love to be able to play with a band. Or for other people, be like, no way, I never want to do that. And wherever you are is absolutely fine, but have a think about it, because if you play in the saxophone, then you're going to cross over into that world. And especially if you play in public or even with friends or something, sooner or later it's likely that somebody will, that kind of opportunity could pop up because you're in that world. So so playing at an open mic is a lot of fun, a jam session or band. And would I aspire to that? What about busking or gigging with backing tracks in public? What's my stand on that? So it's a really good thing to think about, and nothing will focus your mind more than having a public gig of some sort, even if it's a jam session or busking or playing with a band or even just with friends. But nothing will focus your mind more than knowing in 2 weeks from now, you've got a gig, right? It just won't. You can play in your bedroom for years and years and years, and you will never feel the levels of motivation that you feel knowing that you've got some sort of public performance coming up. So it's a very powerful thing. And I've seen it again with my own students again and again and again. When I've challenged people to go busking, or I've challenged them to have a gig of some sort, they have worked like never before in the weeks before that event, and it's been life-changing sax for their sax. It's been life-changing for their sax development, and it's also been life-changing for them often as an individual as well, just as a human being. Having that kind of experience in your past is just an amazing thing. It really, really is, and it can be huge, absolutely huge, change you as a person. If I can do this, what other things could I possibly do? It's a really, really good thing to do. So I think some sort of public performance is a very, very valuable thing for you to think about, and just develop a stand. What's your opinion on it? What are my music reading skills, and where would I like them to be? Where are my music reading? Where are my music reading skills, and where would I like them to be? So again, it's kind of self-explanatory. Personally, my music reading is definitely the weakest part of my whole sax skill set. And there's good reason for that. The main reason for that is just not something that I spend loads and loads and loads of time practicing. But the reason for that is that I'm a self-taught player, and I started off playing by ear, and that has been my strength all the way through. My playing, and over the last few years I've definitely developed my music reading skills. But it is a great thing, and I personally feel inadequate when I meet another musician and their reading skills are absolutely fantastic. People like Matt Telfer, Richard Exel, who are mentors of mine, who read really well, considerably better than I do, especially Richard Exel. Fantastic reader. And I always feel horrible and inadequate, and it's not a very comfortable feeling. So something worth doing. Again, a lot of the time, I know it with myself and with students as well. I don't read music because I'm not very good at it, and I'm not very good at it because I don't read music. And those two things seem locked together. And the only thing to do with that kind of situation is just to take this massive invisible sword out of your scabbard, right, and just like chop through it and think, I don't care if I'm not very good at it and I can't do it, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make myself do it. And I'm a big fan of little and often. So 5 minutes a day, or 5 minutes every couple of days, or 5 minutes 3 times a week. It's really the consistency is a really good way to go and just build up some of those skills. It does get easier with time, I mean, it definitely does. Although my music sight reading is still poor, but it's getting there. It's getting better. Do I understand chord charts? So this is a huge one. Again, for some people, it would be an absolute no-brainer. And for other people, it will be complete and utter, hieroglyphics. And it does look really scary. I'm desperately trying to pull up iReal Pro. It's not having it. It's not going very well, this video. My YouTube career is in doubt. Oh, okay, here we go. So so let me go back. So stop share, and then let's go share screen. And so what I'm talking about specifically is this. Get myself out of the way. Let's find an easier one to have a look at. So last viewed, Misty. Let's have a look at Autumn Leaves. This is the classic. This is showing B flat for B flat instruments, but I'm not going to go through the understanding of this now, but I can do for you and explain it really simply. But when you look at a chord chart like this, what do you think? Do you think what I used to think before I started trying to understand them, which was, I'm never going to get this right. I'm never, what on earth is that? What do these things mean? What is that pyramid there in a flat 13? What on earth does that mean? There's only like 7 notes in the scale. How can there be a flat 13? What are they going? I was just so confused. What on earth is this symbol here? What does it mean? It means you have to give me a percentage of everything you earn from busking. No, it doesn't. But understanding these chords, do you understand some of them, or do you understand none of them? Again, that's something that I can help you with, and that I help my clients with, is understanding chord charts. So it's if you don't understand them, then start having a look at the 4/5 basic types of chord. Is going to really help you get through a chord chart. And again, it was talking about 2-5-1s earlier on. That's something that you could really get to grips with. That was going to help massively, because chord charts, which are the harmonic structures that underline lots and lots of tunes, are full of common structures that we can understand. We can, even me, right? Honestly, when I first started looking at those, I just thought, I'm just never going to be able to do it. I just don't have the brain power for it. I really did think that, and it was so wrong. It was just fear was stopping me. And it did take some time, but we got there in the end, thank goodness. But it's worth getting there. And if you approach it in the right way, it doesn't have to take nearly as much trauma and drama as I made for myself when understanding this, and it can happen quite quickly. And I've had people being able to play through chord charts. I gesture over here, just over there is my music room. But I've had people go from scratch to be able to play through a chord chart in months, and it doesn't really take that long. So let's go back to my sheet if I can find it. Yay! Do I understand chord charts? Wait, let me just pull this up again. Right, think about these aspects of your development and see if any resonate with you. Again, this is all about just taking a stop check of where you are, and makes it much easier to know how you're going to get to where you're going if you know where you currently are. You're not alone. I'm here to help you with any of these aspects, with all or any of these aspects on your journey as much as I can. Well, that is my function in life. I spend 90% of my working life helping other people. So I can give you a hand with any of these things. If you want to contact me and let me know which bit you're struggling with, I'd be more than happy to help you. And there's like a million other saxophone teachers out there as well. So you should be okay one way or the other. As the new week begins, I'll be taking stock with everyone to get clarity on how I can support you in the best way possible. Again, this is really for my own personal clients. So I want to go through this sheet with everybody that I'm teaching and just find out exactly what their thoughts are. It's so powerful. It's really, really useful. Think about your ambitions. And then the last thing that I've said is, because I am an absolute evangelist for learning your major scales, is one thing that you can do to make the whole sax playing experience easier is to memorize your major scales. So I'll be assessing where you are with that when I see you. So major scales, yeah, I mean, they just are. If you have your major scales down and you've memorized them and you can fluently go through all of them, then your saxophone development and your saxophone journey will be easy. So much, it won't be compared to if you don't know your scales. If you don't know your major scales, then your saxophone journey is going to be a challenge, and it's definitely something that you need to work on. And if you don't know, compared to if you do know your scales to if you don't know your scales, if you do know your scales, then it won't make things twice as easy, or it would be like 20 times easier. It's just so much easier to play tunes and to improvise and to understand these other structures, the modes of the major scale, like Dorian minors or Mixolydian scales or relative minors. It unlocks everything by knowing this one structure, this one massively important structure. Anyway, don't get me going, because I'll just rant on and on and on about the importance of major scales, but it's really true that they are so massively significant. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Please like and subscribe and share, so that I could become a YouTuber. How exciting. And if there's anything that you would like to if you'd like me to record stuff about, then please put something in the comments below. That would be absolutely fantastic. Right, thank you very much. I have been Lyndon Blades. This has been my cat, Belle. She's lovely. Again, if you've got any questions, then please let me know. And thanks very much for watching. See you soon.